We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 471. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, the OG Undisputed Scholar himself and your current reigning Scholars of Wrestling World Champion. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how's life treating you, sir?
Life is just nothing but one big circus, one big crazy circus. And a part of that circus that is just the real entertainment of it is just both WWE and AEW all together. So much good wrestling content. I couldn't be any more excited. I'm actually now we're getting really excited with NXT slash TNA now.
There's plenty to
Just
go around.
there is plenty to go around and everything is like slowly start like entering a point where they should be. Now let's fucking save Ring of Honor.
Hey, all in due time. I'm a good man. All in due time, and we're gonna break it down. All I we can break down all the world of wrestling, but apparently I can't talk today. To introduce our other guest this week, the other co-host of the Scholars of Wrestling. He is another undisputed scholar in his own right. He is the one and only Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are you doing over in Florida, sir?
Don't worry about your little problems, Scholar Jeff. I'm also running on fumes and neck thoughts. So this episode should be something special.
Oh yes, and
Oh, the
thankfully,
both of you. Oh, the both
thankfully,
of you.
there is plenty of wrestling to cover and talk about in this week of wrestling. But first, we need to handle things the right way. We have to go into the world of the extra extemporaneous, the things that happen behind the scenes in a little segment we like to call backstage news.
I honestly don't know how to top that one. That was actually really good, Jeff. I enjoyed that. So let's go. Okay, let's see where
I
I can
don't
go
know
from here.
what words are.
Let's go ahead and peek behind that curtain. And there it is. Oh, wait, no, not just an undisputed scholar in his own right, but also your current Mr. Scholar in the Bank. Scholar Brian, undisputed Scholar Brian. We continue to dominate the show. I just have to point it out at least once.
Indeed.
We're
And now
I
we
must say,
do
now
peek
I must
behind that
go.
curtain. We do peek
Oh
behind
yeah,
that
let's go behind
curtain.
that curtain. Yeah, and there it is. And now we continue on with our backstage news.
Backstage news. News.
News.
Apparently, we're all running on neck thoughts, man.
Well, well, you have to. He completely forgot that point. You undisputed scholar, Mr. Scholar in the Bank. Look at you. I'm gonna get that Scholar in the Bank briefcase and have it behind us because the undisputed scholars are both the Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion and the Scholar in the Bank. We don't just say these things. We don't just talk the talk. We also walk the walk. We dominate the Scholars of Wrestling because we are undisputed.
we
And
walk the
apparently,
walk
you
because
also.
apparently we walk the walk because apparently on this night we can't talk the talk.
Yes.
So, how are we
Just
going to
it's
handle this week's backstage
circus.
news of all things?
News. Circus. News.
Let's
News
talk some
circuses, man.
contracts, huh?
Yes, indeed. Because right now we got some wrestling contracts coming up, particularly on the AEW side of life. Uh, Tarek, you've been paying attention in particular. Apparently, Buddy Matthews has indeed re-signed, but we do have a couple of other major names from AEW whose contracts are indeed coming up. What you got for us?
Really, all I got was just the story of Keith Lee and Malachi Black. Their contracts are about to run out, but before the show, Brian informed me it was like, oh no, it's really going to be more at the end of the year, at least for Malachi Black. It was really just more of a, I guess it could be a backstage news slash scholars quick talk of where do you see these guys actually staying in with AEW? Do you think they could work out some kind of deal, or do you see at least one of them going back to WWE? And my
My
vote,
thing,
kind of want it to be Keith Lee.
my thing right now with Keith Lee, I don't really care where he goes. I just want the dude to be healthy.
Oh yeah,
There's
and I
all
think he could
kinds
work a
of
lighter
shit.
schedule, a much more lighter, more
No, I mean,
contained schedule in WWE.
yeah, I understand that, but it's like I don't care whether he's ever on TV again. I don't care if he. I don't.
I miss him.
I'm just like, look, dude. He he did. He had the COVID that Bray Wyatt had. He survived. Bray Wyatt did not.
You know
It's
what?
it's one of
When you
those
bring
like,
that form of into it, I completely understand it. And if that's a worry case for him, then yeah. But if anything, just have him come back and be a presence, a talking presence, like what Barrett's doing.
yeah, and with honestly, but the Malachi Black contract, it's like I no longer know because it's like, look, okay, I thought Buddy Matthews was God. I thought Buddy Matthews, when his contract ran out, he was going to run back to WWE because dude just got married to Rhea Ripley. Okay, so my first thought was like, okay, he's finishing out his contract and he's running back to WWE. And then I get the news that he re-signed the contract with AEW in February, and it's like, well,
That throws a
that
thorn in the
throws
head.
my whole Malachi Black going back to WWE theory out of the books because I would have thought that would have been like a package thing. Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black going back to be with their women and that kind of deal, and
Hmm.
bringing the House of Black kind of thing back to WWE. But now I'm no longer sure. And now with the WWE side losing MVP and Bobby Lashley, probably okay.
Yeah,
It's one of those deals where it's like, okay, AEW might be looking up
I could see.
during
Oh man,
at the end
I
of the
could see
year.
them being the faces of Collision.
So it's like, look, it's one of those things where contracts that you thought you knew and you had a good idea where these people were going when their contracts ran out. It's like everything's up in the air now because it's like
This has been just the
I thought
wildest
Buddy
run
Matthews.
of
It's like I thought
contracts.
Buddy Matthews was gone. I thought, and with that, I thought Malachi Black was gone. I thought they were both going, and then I get the news that Buddy Matthews re-signed with AEW in February.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't even know anymore.
this year of contracts is just out of control.
Yeah. The only one thing I can safely say is that Malachi don't really know for sure. Keith Lee is the only real question mark, and it really has nothing to do with where he signs. I think it comes down to absolutely, really more of his, more relating to his health.
Yeah,
But if he
especially.
is physically healthy, again, as much as I love AEW, they do have a nasty track record of not using people for silly reasons for extended periods of time. Thankfully, it does seem like there is a legitimate reason for Keith Lee's extended absence on AEW television, obviously. However, that being said, if Keith Lee is healthy enough to actually wrestle on a consistent basis again, I'm thinking the modern WWE would be a great place for him. Pick that momentum back up and bring him back to the way he needs to be.
And like I the real difference between AEW and WWE wrestling is just the extremes in their wrestling. Like AEW is the more hardcore, bloody, and WWE is the more, shall we say, just like it's the storytelling
It's
and the
AEW is the speed. There's a speed to it. There's a hard hitting quality to it. It's you're given 100% every single time you're out there. There's no WWE. It's more about the storytelling. It's more about build up. you go slow and then you move and then you go quick at the end. So there's more time to get acclimated to what you're going to be doing at the end of the match. Whereas in AEW, it's 100% from beginning to end. So when you think about it that way, for Keith Lee, yeah, the best bet for him was it was a nice idea to switch companies when he got released, but his best bet was always WWE. Just because of the style that he wrestles with, that he's best at, is more acclimated to WWE than the style of AEW. So if he is healthy, if he can go on a semi-regular basis, then yes, I believe that he will go back to WWE.
And speaking of WWE, we did have a fair amount of things right on the cusp of SummerSlam to get into on the WWE side of things, particularly on this week's Monday Night Raw, including first and foremost the confirmation that Punk versus McIntyre was indeed going to be happening at SummerSlam, which a lot of us kind of predicted. But what I don't think everyone did suspect is that Seth Rollins is going to be a special guest referee on this. Immediate reactions to this. We all saw this one coming, except for that one little twist. What do you think?
What I'm happy about is that it's not a triple threat match.
To continue what we talked about last week, yeah.
I do not that I did not like the idea of a triple threat match. This is not this is where Seth Rollins can bring his way into a CM Punk match. I want a series of one-on-ones where, of course, CM Punk is going to come out on top in the end because that's how this is going to go. But I, I, you needed Drew McIntyre and CM Punk to be a one-on-one. You needed that. Extra wrinkle. Okay, you have Seth Rollins to be the referee so that he can get the next match with CM Punk. I get that, totally fine, but this should never be a triple threat match unless you're doing it like at the end of the feud.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is just this is right now. I think before we even get to the triple threat, we would have to get to a Drew McIntyre Seth Rollins first.
Again, you need to have a one-on-one. Everybody involved would have to have a one-on-one with each other. So you start out with the 100%. One that you've been building up for months, for the better part of a year now. You've been building up Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. You need to do that, and SummerSlam, great place to do it. You add the extra wrinkle, which is fine. It'll continue all three men in a feud. Because if Drew McIntyre beats CM Punk because of Seth Rollins, both men are going to be pissed off at Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. So it's like
Seth Rollins has to he needs his time in this feud.
Yes, so it's one of those easiest build choice without fucking it up by doing the triple threat first, which was what I was worried about the entire time.
Well, now you can take that weight and just float it away.
Yeah,
because that's a future WWE problem. I wouldn't even say a problem. That's just a treat that they're going to give us for a future date.
That's a treat to end the whole thing.
But in the current day, apparently Drew is still enjoying very much stirring the pot. Because as it was brought up to, as it was brought to your attention, Fool, the day we're recording this marks day one of San Diego Comic-Con. And apparently Drew McIntyre and Jack Perry were both in the same place at the same time, and they happened to get a picture together. And Drew McIntyre posted it on his social medias for about a couple hours before it had to be taken down.
He knew ahead.
Oof.
He had to have known ahead of time.
Look, it's one of those things. I was hoping last night when I found out that AEW was doing a panel, and WWE is always at San Diego Comic Con, always every year. So it's like because it's SummerSlam, it's one of the best times to get your guys onto a panel. So it's like last night I was like, oh, if Drew McIntyre, Jack Perry, come on, buddy, come on, do
I
it.
must.
You want to take
I'll
back your
say
hater of the year?
I know. Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like I know what like Drew knew exactly what he was doing when he took this picture. He's like, guess what, kid? I'm gonna make you a star.
No, look,
This is gonna go on to him for Dynamite. And
here's the
what he
deal.
did and what he did this past week. Oh yeah, this is great exposure for him.
I don't think it was I'm gonna make you a star because basically the last ever since he basically drove CM Punk out of AEW, Jack Perry's name has been everywhere. It's like he's a star now. He's like a made man,
Oh no, this is what I mean.
no
Like
matter what.
adding more
So,
to that.
but the
But this is
the
a bigger. I'm
fact
like he's gotten
that
someone on the
look
WWE side to.
going on right now, okay, awards at the end of the year, there's nothing that's got to be able to top that. Drew McIntyre is to play a hater of the year. Okay,
Oh,
he's won
absolutely.
the haters ball. Everything that CM Punk has done to him up to this point, where people was like CM Punk is taking it from him. No, no, it's over now. It's done. Okay,
He's taken
you
over this
took
year.
you took another guy who drove CM Punk out of that company, and you're like,
I like this kid.
And point.
when you it's like as I said in my comment on the now deleted picture, when one hater meets up with another hater and they team up to create maximum hate, that was the best picture that could have come out of any of this. And Drew
It's
McIntyre went and got it done.
the possibilities of where this could lead.
Now he's probably going to have to pay fines because I don't think that was sanctioned by anybody.
What do you?
or
Oh, it's okay. They're independent contractors.
but
Remember
it's
that.
one of, but it but it's one of those
I know.
the
And he's
things you
more. I'm
don't
sure he's
expect
more
to
than willing
happen.
to pay it. He knew he was gonna have a pay a fine. He's like, it was worth it.
Yes.
It really was.
Yeah.
And the internet loves him for it.
Superstar of the year so far.
But speaking of love or lack thereof, we also turned the corner in the Dominic Mysterio Liv Morgan dynamic happening, where Dominic finally, apparent from what it seems, finally stood up to Liv Morgan, shut her down, and got his mommy back.
You say that we turned the corner. You
Turned
say that
a corner.
we
A corner.
you said that we turned a corner. This is a red herring. This is look. This,
It
we all
probably
know where this
is.
is going at SummerSlam. We all know where it's going.
It probably is a red herring, and you're probably absolutely right. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want it to be. Because where my mind is leading, where I'm seeing the storyline going, I want the real like turn to come from Finn Balor. That he's been also plotting to get him to get involved with Liv Morgan, and they're just setting this whole thing up. You can't have those backstage segments with him and her talking, getting out of a car together. That can't be for nothing. There has to be something. And I feel like Dominic's choice, him losing it, that got him such a big pop. I honestly would say continue on with this. There's only so long we can go with this Dominic character of him trying to say something and everyone overshots him. I think now keep him with Rhea and have this be like, okay, he's like with mommy. Have Finn Balor be the one that really breaks up Judgment Day. To have him, because I actually think we get a bigger impact, like a better told story impact, and it gives something for gives Finn Balor something to do instead of being just put to as one of the stooges of Judgment Day. I like that they've been slowly building that up too, with like what he did at Money in the Bank, what just him trying to like yeah, we're tough, and with Rhea and Priest kind of downplaying him, not make it's like no, we told you to stay here. It's like you guys aren't the bosses. We're equals. You're not telling me what to do. That whole thing. I just feel like it would be a good for everyone if Finn and Liv were the ones working together than having Dominic. But again, it could be the red herring. It could be Dominic will turn. I think it would be because of his story that it took Rhea coming back to him almost giving into the temptation of Rhea completing the Morgan Revenge tour. But no, Rhea Ripley came in just in time to keep him from like, okay, this kid is gonna crack. Now it's like you haven't done anything, you haven't talked to me. You need to stop being a boy and be a man, Dom. Stop being
No,
the Dom.
because my thing is he went too hard.
I don't think
I
he.
mean, like
I think he went hard of trying not like. Of course, because it's how can you like it's hard, no point intended, to like not be like, oh, Liv is whew, Jersey represent. But I like the idea of like using this as a way to like again end that whole Dom. He's been a good heel. He's done it long enough. I think now is the time like have him go with Rhea to turn face. I actually think being a face would be great for him because he was so like the audience was so close to him as a heel. I think now because of him choosing and getting that huge pop, it's the step of turning him face. You know what I mean? Again, it's
I just
I'm
don't.
also I love storytelling, and I'm just like hopefully we'll get to this story. But again, red herring, Dom could be anything. But hopefully, but Triple H hasn't really fully let me down on his storytelling. So it's like, okay, you probably have some good story coming along to this, which okay. I just prefer Finn Balor being the one that's initiating the heel turn than just being again a background guy.
Yeah, to me, this is what's so unique and interesting about a storyline like this, especially leading into a major pay-per-view for them. There's so many different ways that this could go, and all of them are interesting. There, yeah, some of us may want one result over another, but at the end of the day, this is still good TV. This is one of the hottest angles that they're doing right now.
I can look at all of these angles and think these are just absolutely great angles. And then you even have Damian Priest with his build up for his match with Gunther at
You
SummerSlam.
led into it. I
I
mean,
I
break it down
do
I
for
had
us.
I
to.
I
Get out
do
It's the
figures.
enjoy
storyline with Gunther. I had to.
I do enjoy the fact that Damian Priest didn't say a word on Monday. He just got in the ring, had a mic in his hand, and was like, you know what? Fuck it. And then just started going after Gunther because it's like we all know how this is probably gonna go.
Oh, we know how
Okay.
it's gonna
But it's like you now have proof that this guy can go toe to toe with this man. Okay, we know how this is gonna end, but it's like as of right now they are equals
go.
because
I will
dude
like
because
this.
dude
It had needed to be built that way because Gunther was already at his own level because what he's accomplished. This whole feud right now is basically to put over Damian Priest as a face. And yes, it is working. But of course, I have my own different views on this one, thinking of the character wise. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet on this, like on Monday, was like, oh, Damian Priest has been pushing himself as the guy that no one can like they can trash talk all he wants and he won't break. He won't stoop to their level. Gunther just says one sentence, "You're street trash," and he's broken. And he's like,
and fold.
you know what? It's like, you know what I have to say about that? Yeah, Jerry. I don't mean to be hard on Damian Priest like that. He's awesome. He is doing a great job as world champion. It's like
But
continuing
when
the whole
Gunther's
thing of
right next
Judgment Day
to him,
being in full control of Raw, huh?
but when Gunther's right next to him,
Yeah, exactly. When you have Gunther right next to him, it's just like it's a no-brainer. Yeah, Gunther didn't even need to do. See, like, I don't need to do much to get this guy over. I just say he's street trash, and the people love him for it. That's great. It's like, you know what? Good. This is a face turn for Damian Priest. Let him have it. It's just inevitable at the end.
Yeah, everything
Oh,
I just said a moment ago about there's so many different ways this could go, or the whole different feud with Dominic and Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley could go. This is a complete opposite. There's only one way that Gunther and Priest can go, and I'm not going to say it publicly now, but until at least until next week. But I think we're all picking up on what's going down.
but I will
oh yeah.
say this, the way that this is being built, I was worried this was going to be a Brock Lesnar John Cena situation where it was just going to be a dismantling of the opponent. I don't think it's going to be that. I think we're
It's
going to have a more. I think based off of how they've built this, okay, I do think that there's going to be an actual underdog kind of
this is
part
this is
of
going to be
part of
Priest's
this
best
match.
world. This is going to be his best title match, hands down.
Yeah, where he will ultimately fall short, but will come out
Like,
as a bigger will come out
baby
as a
faces are
bigger
good
baby face
chasers.
in the end.
Baby faces are good chasers.
Hmm.
Yeah, it all hail the Ring King.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into a whole lot further detail about that next week, right before SummerSlam hits. But in the meantime,
Oh, before
AEW, yes,
I'm sorry, fool. I don't mean to cut, but there is just one
you
more
got
thing.
more.
It's
Go ahead.
I don't think this is gonna. I told you both shows have a lot to talk about, but this one's gonna be relatively quick because it's just basically us gushing on the progression of the Wyatt Six.
Oh yeah, I love how it's not even news anymore. It's just like, yeah, the Wyatt
But
Six
it's just
showed
like
up and did something awesome.
but it is something worth talking about because what Bo Dallas's character, what Uncle Howdy's character is just the breakdown of your character. And having Chad Gable being that freshly turned heel, being the one who's basically just trying to destroy his family. The whole thing's like, oh, I'm breaking you down, showing you who you really are. So when you have Chad Gable like on the verge, why are you laughing? On the verge of just showing his true colors, showing who he really is. That's just like, man, that is some great storytelling. That is just basically Bo Dallas coming in on this person and just completely dismantling him from the inside. And I'm just going, that is just so amazing. I couldn't be any more happy of this group. I can't wait to actually see what if they're gonna do what videos they're gonna do for Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis. Hopefully, it's not gonna be as quick as uh uh
Nikki Cross
Nikki
Ross.
Nikki Cross. I don't know why I blanked out. It's yeah, we're all tired.
next
Nikki
thoughts.
Cross. Hopefully it's not as quickly. I hopefully we get some good if they even if they have to be together, be booked or presented as the team, the tag team of the Wyatt Six, have them say something of who they were, how lost they were, and joined how they joined him. Even just because just show them being them. You don't even have to show the clips of like Joe Gacy's time at NXT or Dexter Loomis' time on either of the main roster. Just be like, I was lost, he found me.
At the very
And
least, I think next week we're probably going to get Joe Gacy, and that will be a little bit longer since He is an accomplished talker. He has that charisma. Plus, he also needs to be introduced to the main roster audience, and I think an extended Wyatt Six tape on him next will do the most good. With someone like Dexter Loomis, he almost never talks to begin with. I can, if anyone is going to get a shorter video, it's probably going to be him. But then again, since he doesn't say much, he can probably just draw something sinister, foreboding, or at least tell his story through his art, which is something he's known for as it is. To stay that silent, menacing type that we already know he is, except just
Bo,
up to the next level.
Bo interviewing him and his response are pictures. And then even if you want to, go ahead and show the clips of like what these drawings are at points of his career. Like showing where he was, like he had it all like with the way and NXT, and I guess just show him being stalking Miz. I don't know. Maybe not show him stalking Miz.
and
Sometimes wrestling is just that simple.
and
Right.
Sometimes
and the
wrestling's
crowd
easy.
and the crowd pop for the Sister Abigail was chef's kiss.
Oh, he sold that
So,
like a he sold that like, an Olympian.
I'll tell you what, I have never gotten the warm fuzzies to see a Sister Abigail like that ever. It's just it's one of those things where like, all is right with the world. The earth is healing.
It's that, and just also showing just how in depth this roster is, because you got Otis with Tozawa and oh my god, again I'm blank.
Maxine,
What is it with Maxine? Son,
Maxine,
I know it's funny. I know her name. I'm just tired. That and then them helping Xavier Woods with the Karrion Cross storyline. It's just showing there is stories told on this roster. Everyone actually has a place on it, and yeah, just so many characters, so many in-depth stories, and how much they're crossing paths with one another. It's I just have to say it really is a much more better told show than SmackDown. I know it's not this whole comparison, but SmackDown is at a low as is at like a I guess the best way to put it is a breathing point, since they're slowly building this new bloodline, which granted, they are doing very well. They are wrecking shit. Um and then you have LA
but
Knight
that's
and
pretty
Logan
much
Paul,
it.
but
That's
then you
pretty
have
much
LA
it
Knight
on
and
that
Logan
end.
Paul, and we're not really interested in the story anymore. We're just like, okay, just give LA Knight the title, so because we actually do have a good roster that are just basically fighting each other for basically points.
Hmm.
I mean, it's good character, it's good like building your momentum to get these future matches, but it's just like, well, no one's. It's just basically wins and losses. It's not fighting for anything. That's SmackDown, like I said, is at a holding pattern, while Raw is basically taking over SummerSlam. There's what is it, like 2 matches for SmackDown, and everything else is a Raw match.
I haven't actually done the math on that, but I feel like
Oh yeah, three, three.
most of them are raw though. Yeah.
Bailey and Nia Jax with okay, with Tiffany Stratton as Miss Money in Bank. At least there's that roster building in there, but it's just Raw is just much more fulfilling stories right now. They're the much more entertaining characters, and Drew McIntyre, who is superstar of the year right now for me, because seriously, this has been his year. Yeah, Rock and Roman had January to April, but at least he was doing something, making himself known, and having his moments. Be like, oh, it's just Drew McIntyre trolling again. He's doing it so well.
I'll tell you
But yeah,
what, I don't know if he's my superstar of the year just yet, but he is
I guess in the
absolutely
term of
among the most
storytelling,
entertaining. Yeah.
I would say at least it's storytelling. Yeah, I agree. There is someone
He's
else on the top of
definitely
that list of wrestler of the year.
he's definitely hater of the year, top
Oh, he's
notch.
definitely top notch, and oh, this is just some fun hate. Good story, good times story hating. And now And now, since we referenced Jack Perry, now he could be our transition to AEW.
I was gonna say, speaking of fun and hate and all that, let's move on to AEW, where a new hater has appeared, backing up Mercedes Moné in her feud with Dr. Britt Baker. We have the long-awaited debut of Camille as the bodyguard for Mercedes Moné. I know I've seen quite a bit of her on NWA years ago, ever since before pandemic times, back when she was the heater for Nick Aldis. But wait, let's break it down for you guys. Have How much experience do you have with Camille, and how do you believe her debut came across on TV?
Quite honestly, I have no experience with Camille whatsoever. So it's like when she came in, I was like, she looks like she could be a bodyguard for Mercedes Monet. This is probably the best spot that they could have inserted her in because there was obviously, look, she's been signed since the beginning of the year. Okay, there's obviously been no spot to actually slot her in based on the stories they were telling at that point in time. But now you can bring her in as Mercedes Monet bodyguard, and that sets up tag team matches in the future because Britt Baker's going to have Jamie Hayter back. And
Oh
so
man,
imagine those tag team matches.
yeah, that would be great. And I'm gonna say I don't have any experience with her either. You said she was in NXT,
She was
NWA.
in NWA
NWA.
for she's a former NWA Women's Champion, and before that, she was actually the silent bodyguard for Nick Aldis. It was
Didn't she hold
badass.
that title for like 2 years?
It was a considerable amount of time,
All right, gotta
Like
look
she
more
was
into her.
the
I think it's a good spot for her to be in.
for
It's the
sure, for
Diesel
sure.
to Mercedes, Shawn Michaels. She and with what is established here, she is very good at what she does. She is very good in the ring. She's not like the Tamina. If they try,
uh,
if she Mercedes had a bodyguard in WWE, it probably would have been Tamina.
I will say this. Okay, Tarek, from what I've heard based off of people watching, okay, female version of Gunther.
Okay, now you caught my attention. I will look
That
more into it.
is very lofty praise. She's good, but that is some very lofty praise, and
Ooh,
I'm hesitant.
fascinating.
I'm hesitant to even put it that way. All I'm saying is I wouldn't put her. I wouldn't say she's a female Gunther, but I will say Camille is absolutely going to be worth your time in viewership for sure.
So I don't look at this as what some people are saying, the negative ones, like, oh, great, she's just going to be under Mercedes, like, while she's holding her down. This doesn't look like going to be the case at all. And yeah, with Jamie Hayter on, hopefully on the way. Has there been any news about when she's coming back?
Soon, maybe there
I
only been
honestly,
vagaries.
I think it's another one of those. They're waiting for a spot to slaughter in.
Well,
So
from what looks
so
like
it's
it's going to
like
be sooner rather than later.
so it's like, well, here's your spot. This is completely easy work here. This is easy
It's easy
storytelling
work,
work.
and it's a good person to basically have your like to endorse you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for this.
Well, I was hoping that Camille was going to make her debut on AEW TV for a while now. What I did not expect this week was to see MJF picking up the international title from Will Ospreay, and then the next week rechristening it the AEW American Championship. With the Considering where they're going to be going in less than a month's time, if they're positioning for a rematch at All In between him and Osprey,
It's already
this
announced.
this is just so classic.
Yeah.
It almost is so classic. I'm a little ashamed that I didn't even think that this was going to take this turn, but hey,
Yeah, it's
alas,
like
we are here.
it's one of those, now that he's christened this belt, okay, we all know where this is going.
It's gonna be christened again.
It's one of those things where the storytelling and the end point are obvious, but MJF
That's not a
gets to
bad
be a
thing.
magnificent dick
It's not,
on the
yeah,
way
because
to the end of the story, and it's good. And passing the test with flying colors, getting the stars off of the American flag and changing them to MJ to his face is great storytelling. The title itself would make Cody Rhodes feel angry that he never got to hold it.
I think
And
it's obvious they're leading this to when Will Ospreay wins it back. He's gonna christen that the UK title, and I feel like at this point, that's all the international title is gonna be. So whoever lands on it, it's gonna be that country's champion.
yeah,
Have that just be. It's like it is the international title, so it's good representing each nation. It's like, oh, a Scottish one, the Scottish champion,
and
the
it's just
French champion, the
I'm
champion of
watching
France.
I'm watching the
Oh man,
interwebs and all this, and I'm seeing all the people being like, "Oh, another title." I'm like, "No, it's the same title, morons. They're just they're just they're just setting up the story. It's just
it's funny when
internet people are stupid, but we've been knowing this." So
if you actually know what's going on, you look into it, then you don't have to look so stupid. You ignoramus.
yeah, it's like this is a very obvious storytelling point where you now know what's going to happen when they inevitably have the match in Wembley. But if we get a month of just magnificent Dick MJF as the American champion and him just being himself the entire time, the fact is they're doing this now because of how over MJF was in England last year. He was not supposed to be that over as a babyface last year, and they had to run with it, which was why the end of his title reign, I feel, was lackluster. I've always felt like this. I've always felt like this. That it's like MJF is not made to be a babyface, and they had to
The way
turn
I
him because of what Wembley, because how that worked. But now they've pivoted so hard that
the,
there is no way that Wembley can cheer him after what he's done to that title.
oh no, I absolutely agree. In your response, what you're saying that you like wish they didn't turn him face. At this point, I'm kind of glad they did because like we got to see what he was capable. It shows that he is capable of being a good face, but
I
in
just
the
don't think it was
end,
organic.
when it comes to when it comes to again, I just break down characters, man, because I look at it through their perspective. He he was genuine with his friendship with Adam Cole. He let his guard down once, and it hurt him so hard. Yes, it had to end such an anticlimactic thing because Cole's not healed yet. But now it just shows, okay, I can't really trust anyone, so I'm just refusing to trust anyone. So I'm just going to stick the middle finger at you, including little children who punches me during my match with Will Ospreay. So yeah, I actually think like, oh, this makes perfect sense for his character. Why he would turn heel? Why would he basically say like, you know what? I gave it that shot, and you just well, it just choose the end. It like yeah, that was such a stupid choice, and you guys are all idiots, and I'm better than you. It works perfect for his character, and I'm glad we had the face to show what he was capable of, but he does work wonderful as a heel. The way you should be presenting him as a
He's
heel.
100% better as a heel. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I will give you that.
It's just a shame it is at the. Even I got upset when they said, "Oh, the international title is not the international title." That's very disappointing because I was like, "Oh, it's AEW's Intercontinental title, and it's off to a great start with the workhorse mentality behind it." Now they just turned it into the United States title, where it's the more storytelling than the actual wrestling, and it kind of breaks my heart about it.
Oh, that'll be fine because it'll get back to what it was supposed to be when Ospreay wins it back.
Unless he makes it the UK Championship, like what he did with New Japan.
No, he handed the international title back to Tony Khan in the backstage area and said he was going to get it back and make it what it was and return it to the way it's supposed to be. So
Okay,
he's
I
not
did not
doing
know
the
that. It's
UK
nice
bit.
to know that.
He's
It's
not doing
it's
the
nice to
UK
know
bit.
that.
He's changing it back.
Sometimes timeless is the way to go. And we breathe.
That is
That would only be if Osprey was a heel. You know this because that's why he did it in NJPW because he was a
that's
heel.
fair. Ah, okay. Now I get what he's not. Oh, there's even more great character development. Why MJF did this? It's like, oh yeah, you did it. I can do it better with this title. Look
There's
at
it's like a
those
onion. They got layers.
layers. Wrestling has layers. They both have layers.
But sometimes all you really need in the world of professional wrestling is just a good dose of blood and guts. That's right. We got the latest
Nice segue.
edition of AEW's Blood and Guts match. We got Team AEW triumphing over the Elite. Twists and turns everywhere. We had thumbtacks all over the place. Darby Allin was ready to set Jack Perry on fire. We had Swerve coming out and Hangman not coming out because it was actually waiting for Swerve, and then they just wouldn't stop fighting and
Where you have
twists and
where you have
turns.
Hangman Adam Page and Swerve be AEW's equivalent to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, as quite possibly the most interesting feud with such interesting characters. My God.
What I loved about this match the most is they made Swerve look like the most important character in the match for a majority of the match, and which is what he should be as champion and leader of that team. Now, inevitably, by the end of it, we figured out that this was just Darby Allin's way of bullying his way into a TNT title match. But when Swerve needed to show that he was the top guy, that was what they showed. And Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland did their job. That was the most electric moment in the match when they had to stare down on opposite ends of the double ring and they slowly made their way to the center where they could start their throwing hands movement that everybody in major feuds always does. That was great. And the the adventure of the staple gun was highly amusing, especially it's blood and guts, right? That's Okada's only noticeable injury was the staple gun to the middle finger. Other than that,
The best
dude
the
didn't even
best
need to take a shower.
the best way to put Okada's involvement in Blood and Guts, the match where you have to give blood, the only blood that he gave was just a little nick on the finger. It's like, ow, drop. That's more than enough for him. Apparently, it's like, all right, I'm good. See you later. We don't even. He just disappears at one point. But it looks like they're actually hinting at Adam Page and Okada at Wembley.
And I would definitely be down for that.
Shut up and
And
take
then
my
of
money.
course,
That's my response to that.
and then of course, second place for Hater of the Year. Jack Perry was willing to die. in order to not give Darby Allin his TNT title shot. He was just like, "You want to light me on fire? You go right ahead, buddy. I ain't giving you shit."
You give me a chair shot to the head, and I still won't give you a match. Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't even him; it was Briscoe.
Yeah, it was Briscoe, but still, it's like you can give me this. I'm still not quitting. I'm still not. It's like mad props. You get to take a picture with Drew to raise your stocks even more, and then you're showing how incredibly badass and tough you are by saying you can do whatever you want. I'm not quitting.
It's like you've got me handcuffed. You're hitting me unprotected with chairs. You're putting gasoline on my face. Go ahead, buddy. You're still not getting shit. and, it's like and then it's just and then Nick Jackson. I'm like that's a
I thought it was
I
Matt.
think they did the light version of that last year when they had John Moxley wave the flag for Wheeler Yuta
That's the only
because I
real
think they were
criticism I
about to
had with this one.
I
I get it
think that they were
storyline
about to
wise.
hang him or something. Wheeler Yuta
Yeah, yeah,
last
that's right.
year, and John Moxley waved the surrender flag or whatever. And I will admit that in a blood and guts match, the way that they ended this match was a little weak.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Agreed.
mean, look, okay,
That's
when you
just the
have Jack
stipulations
Perry
of the
looking
match.
badass, and it shows the elite for who they really are. It's like Jack Perry is a badass, the Young Bucks are cowards, and Okada is Okada. we, we,
I would I would argue the cowards thing. It just shows, hey, well, not even just that it's cowards. It's like, hey, man, you are not going to murder something on my show. I am not going to deal with the consequences of this
I did not,
action tomorrow.
I do not want to do this paperwork. Okay.
Yeah. No one wants to do this paperwork. I don't. Nobody. So yes, okay, we quit. It's more than just like, oh yeah, we're saving an asset. Maybe. I don't know how much. Yeah, how much do you think they're stable? I think they care about each other. It just also shows how much of a it's like a good. He'll do the character, the heel character is not like the paperwork, but we all know. In the words of Uncle Howdy, there you are, showing who they are.
The fun times never end. But anyway, that is the long and the short of the highlights from this week's world of WWE, AEW, and the greater professional wrestling world. We've told you what we think, but now we want to hear from you, our fellow fans all across the internet. So drop us a line wherever you are. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorite, the Twitter machines. Join in the conversation and get to each and every single one of us. Oh, where can I reach you?
Just from this discussion alone, it's just like, was it good for you? It was good for me. You can find me enjoying more of what AEW and WWE have to offer at the Avatar. It was a
And
good conversation,
Brian.
and you know it.
It was, but like, I was like, okay, what a great conversation. And then you had to go and drop that on me. Brian, segue. Where can I reach you?
I've done.
you,
You know what I've done on this show.
Yes, I do.
you can reach me
Yeah.
trying to forget the last 5 minutes at Atomic
Brian.
People.
Brian, you're my tag team partner. You just know the crazy shit that I'm got up here.
Yes,
There's no
but I'm trying
control.
to forget my next thoughts. Okay.
You know how unforgettable I am.
And I believe this conversation is giving me a lazy eye at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation, and for all of these
There's no
relevant
intermission,
social media links and much, much more, check us out at our link tree in the description box below. That's linktree/scholars of wrestling.
Like this video and subscribe here.
Do that too. You know we're
I
gonna
like the
keep
thumbs.
and we're gonna keep doing that until you do it. Because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Get ready for next week's prediction of SummerSlam.